How soft and tolerant have we become? After my first video after coming back from my break, I was amazed by one or two comments I received in the comment section. I'm not going to name names or anything like that, but I thought these comments highlighted a common problem among us that has become so serious these days that it should be discussed. I'm talking about a tendency that has developed over the last while and a tendency that has been growing rapidly lately among the minorities, and particularly us the white South Africans. That is the tendency of us to put up with or tolerate the blatant discrimination, victimization, and persecution of us and everything we have anything to do with or have control over. I've been talking about how the expropriation without compensation bill will literally enable the government to lay claim to basically anything you own, down to your bank account, your belongings, even your car and TV, basically anything and everything you own. This is entirely possible because in the regulations there is no definition of the word property, and I would guess that was done intentionally. There are the new regulations that have been put into place that now make it mandatory for your pension fund, or a large portion of your pension anyway, to be used to fund so-called infrastructure development. Seeing that no infrastructure delivers a profit, I think it is safe to say that your pension is as good as gone. That is the portion that is invested in the infrastructure development anyway, which I would imagine is way more than the growth your pension or the money in your pension fund is experiencing right now. Just lately we have had these ignorant fools pitching up at private preschools, threatening to close them down. I saw footage of what I assume to be the owner or principal trying to talk to one of these idiots and attempting to hold a proper civil conversation with him. The latest is the announcement by the president himself announcing that miraculously they have found another 1.2 billion rand, which they are going to pump into the tourism industry. Not the tourism industry as a whole, oh no, they are going to pump this money exclusively into the black-owned sectors of the tourism industry. These are just a few examples of many that I'm talking about. What I really want to talk about is our reaction to all of this. What I'm going to say does not apply to all of us, but certainly to the majority of us. Getting back to the comments I was talking about. This one commentator in particular advised me to just be happy and to find a way to work around all of these things. Fair enough. Please tell me how a homeowner with a family to support, who has no work because of BEE and no money, finds a way around the fact that he can't feed his children or himself. How does that husband or wife find a way around the fact that they have no electricity in their house to cook food because Eskom can't supply them? I guess what I'm trying to say is that it is easy for someone who has money and resources to find ways around some of these problems like power supply, relatively safe but expensive places to retreat to on holidays, etc. But there are certain things that no amount of money or resources will be able to provide a workaround for. Examples of this are this ridiculous lockdown situation. Every one of us, particularly if you are white, is forced to obey these restrictions, and in fact, if you are an affluent white caught contravening these restrictions, you are likely to experience even more severe consequences as the rest of us. Another situation that no amount of money or resources can work around is the crime that takes place daily in South Africa. In fact, if you drive a luxury car or SUV, you are more likely to become a target of hijackers. So firstly, I need to say to that commentator that I am not inherently an unhappy person. I am happy, but certain things do affect my mood, and no amount of bullshitting myself that it is okay will change that. To me, anyone who sits back and tries to convince themselves that either everything is going to work out or everything is okay is a classic denialist, or more plainly a fool. I'm certainly not for going and finding a dark place to retreat to and moping either. I agree that we can't stop living our lives, and we do in fact have to find ways to circumvent some, if not all of these restrictions placed on us, to curb our development and in most cases to sabotage our development. We also need to take positive steps to get rid of these restrictions, as well as the entities that are enforcing them, or we are going about it either in the wrong way or very ineffectively at best. We as a minority in this country have had just about all of our freedoms, just about all of our businesses, just about all of our assets, and just about all of our rights taken away from us. And the sad thing is, most of us don't even realize it yet. As soon as the effects of the restrictions I have spoken about earlier get enforced, we are suddenly going to realize what we have allowed to happen or be done to us. And then it will be too late. In theory, you listening to this recording right now, if you are white, you have very little rights or very little rights that you will be able to have enforced if you had to, but you don't realize it yet. The legislation is already in place to take away from you everything you have. It just needs to be implemented properly now. Believe me, that experience is coming soon. All these surveys and petitions to, in inverted commas, have your say, are a total waste of time, and I am pretty sure that nobody even pays any attention to them. Surveys and petitions have absolutely no effect. The government is and will do exactly what they want anyway. They have a plan and will execute that plan no matter what. So I can already see the comments saying that I have done a good job of highlighting the problem but have offered no solution. So here is my attempt to offer a solution without getting my channel banned or being locked up. We as a minority people in this country are in a very precarious position. Whether you believe it or not, our very existence here is under severe threat, and unless we take measures to put a stop to it, we will not survive here. It's that simple. So what do I mean by putting a stop to it? Well, in a nutshell, we have to use methods that actually work. We need to use the tools we have that the majority does not have. So what are these resources we have that the majority does not have? Firstly, we have two ears on our heads. The space, or the gap between our ears, is filled with a thing we like to call our brain. And we, the white minority, have been known to be able to make pretty good use of our brains. We need to get together and form think tanks, sit down with others, and put our minds together to come up with ways in which we can negate the effects of these blatant efforts to sabotage our existence to a point where they have no effect on us. Remember, it's the effect of the regulations and restrictions that will kill us, not the regulations and restrictions themselves. Secondly, we should pool and use our resources. Even though the ANC has over the last 30 years come up with every conceivable way in which they could sabotage our existence here, it is not a secret that the vast majority of taxpayers in South Africa are still the whites. This is slowly changing, and like all things of this nature, the curve is starting to go parabolic now. In other words, they are succeeding in their aim to destroy us. We absolutely have to come up with ways in which we can keep our wealth among us, because at this stage, we are being bled dry. So how do we do this? Well, firstly, we have to create some kind of parallel economy among ourselves where we do business with each other and thereby excluding the government from taking their slice of the pie. They run on money, our money, and nothing else. Taxes are by far our biggest contribution to their existence, and we need to stem the flow. We need to find or create alternatives to the rand. We need to find or create alternatives to the banks. This is where I have a little experience and knowledge that I can share. Decentralization is the key. By not giving any one person or entity control over our assets, we ensure that they remain ours. I will be doing an entire video on this shortly, for which some might find it to be a bit difficult to grasp, but for others it will be quite self-explanatory. Decentralization of literally everything is the key to not only our survival, but to all people's freedoms worldwide. Lastly, and by far the most sensitive, is our physical opposition to all of this nonsense. We have to, in some way, collectively stand up and physically oppose what is happening to us. Now, for those that like to read between the lines and see what they want to see, I am certainly not advocating that we do what the ANC did and go planting bombs and sabotaging infrastructure. No, not at all. What I am talking about is us coming to a collective conclusion that our very lives and existence here is in our own hands now. With Joe Biden now in the Oval Office, I think it is safe to say that the USA will never be coming to our aid. That in itself is not a bad thing, because I doubt very much if that would ever have happened anyway. Now we know for sure. We, the minority people of South Africa, and yes, I am speaking to my people now, the whites, but I include all minorities in my inferences that they should be doing the same. We need some form of mass resistance in whatever form works for us. That does not rule out anything except being terrorists by killing innocent civilians indiscriminately, as the ANC did. Whatever is effective, in the words of someone more famous than myself, or should I rather say more notorious than myself, and I quote, by any means necessary." End quote. My people, it is time to grow a set and to be responsible for your own life and existence here. More importantly, be responsible for the world you are leaving to your children and their children's children. We, in a way, created this mess by doing nothing to stop it for close to 30 years now. It is now our responsibility to remedy this situation as soon as humanly possible, while there is still something to be salvaged. Please look out for my video on decentralization coming up. I promise you it will be an eye-opener. Please like and share this video on as many social media platforms as possible. It is the only way that my content gets out there. If you have not done so yet, click on the subscribe button as well as the bell icon to be notified whenever I upload new content. If you would like to support my channel, in the comments section, I have provided ways in which both local as well as international subscribers or viewers can make a contribution. If you'd like to make a crypto contribution, I have also supplied a Bitcoin as well as a Litecoin wallet address. If you would like to contribute any other crypto, shoot me an email to the address also provided in the description field, and I will reply with the appropriate wallet address. If you would like to use Zapper, simply pause this video anytime you see the Zapper code. Any and all donations are welcome and much appreciated. To those people who do support my channel, those amazing people, I say a huge thank you. You will never know how much I appreciate it. Until next time, be safe out there.